Step 3 for married and alone. That's our topic today. So if you're married to an intimacy anorexic and you're actually working the 12 steps, first of all, I'm very proud of you. Proud of you that you're healing, proud of you that you're walking through the process. Today is going to be an important conversation because it can totally change your life. So stay tuned, watch this. And if you've not subscribed, please do. We have hundreds of videos that can help you as you heal and recover. And also, if you have a question, please put it in the box. We'll get to you as soon as possible. So stay tuned. Step 3 for married and alone. And being married and alone is a painful process, and healing is a journey. The 12 steps is part of that journey. And if you're working through the Married and Alone 12-step workbook, I strongly encourage you to do that. Kind of pace yourself. It takes a while to work through the steps, but about once a month, you should be knocking those out and doing that. Now, step 3, I'm going to read it and then I'm going to parse through it so that you can maximize maybe some of this for your own journey. Step 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Now, made is in the past tense, and the writers of the 12 steps are always writing from the past tense because it's something they've already done, okay? This is something that you will know when you've done it. There'll be a point in time you'll be able to point to and say, this was the day, this is the photograph when I made a decision. Okay, now this is the biggest decision of your life, but it's a process. So when you made a decision, that means there was a time and process for you to get there. So as you're going through this, be patient with yourself. Some of you have incredible faith journeys and this is easy for you. Some of you have no concept of the faith world or the spiritual world. And it's been a journey for you, and sometimes arduous of trying to figure this out, And so either way, there is a place and time when you made a decision. Now, I liken this step really to marriage. And I mean the marriage ceremony. I mean the day you walk down the aisle. Now, before that day, you made lots of decisions. You found this person attractive, you talked to them, you went on dates, you had all kinds of connection and talking and all that time together. But there was a day when you decided that this would be the person for the rest of your life. And you made a decision to marry. And then you carried that decision all the way through to its end, and you walked down an aisle to celebrate the decision that you've already made. You made a decision to be married. You walked down the aisle, you declared your love for one another. I know this right now is painful for many of you that are married alone because they promise to love, honor, and cherish you. And if you're married alone, you probably haven't felt loved, honored, and cherished. You made a decision to marry, okay? In the same way you made that decision, okay, now this is a totally different person. Okay, this person actually really does love you, is committed to you, wants your best, and will talk to you and be compassionate and understanding of you, okay? God is a totally different being than your spouse who's intimacy anorexic. God does not withhold love. God gives it abundantly, constantly. It's who He is. God is a lover at His heart, okay? But you made the decision to turn our will, okay? So when we talk about our will, that's a powerful thing. The human will is the most powerful thing you possess. It will determine what happens to you in time and after time. You can say no to God and you can say yes to God. You can say yes to darkness, or you can say yes to right decisions. You can say yes to self-destruction, or you can say yes to healing. Your will determines all of that for you. And as a married and alone spouse, let me tell you, you've been through enough pain. You don't need to be self-run. And most of the ones I've met are not, okay? But you want to make a decision to turn your will. Now the will is that very part of you that makes the decision, okay? The rest of it goes on, and our lives over to the care of God. So your will is how you make a decision, okay? It's your ability to make the decision. Now, when you turn your life, that's everything. That's all of your decisions. Financially, how about your future, your family, your other relationships, those that are supporting your healing and recovery. And maybe there's people that you don't need to be hanging around who don't get what you're going through. I can tell you, if you're a married and alone spouse, people don't get what you're going through. You feel really alone. And if you're in a religious community, even harder. Okay, they don't get what you're going through unless they've read the Intimacy Anorexia book or watched the video or the Stronger Together series that is for churches to start understanding intimacy anorexia. Comes from a biblical perspective. That's a great product to do that. But you feel a lot alone. And if you do, I definitely encourage you to get into our Facebook group for Married Alone. We have one for women and one for men. Get in a phone group, work your steps, and have support while you're going through steps. So you turn your will and your life over to the care of God. And I love the word care. They could have just said, turn your will over to God. But I like the word care of God because it kind of highlights who He is. That the care of God, that you understand that He really does love you. He has your best interest at heart. Okay, He does love. And you might feel alone from people, you might feel misunderstood, but He really does understand. Okay, He loves the whole human race, and there's many of them that withhold their love from Him, many of them that walk away from Him. He understands your pain more than any human ever will. He understands betrayal. He understands being neglected. He understands being cursed, even when you're doing good things. He understands the heart that you've gone through, and He has seen your pain. He has seen the nights of being rejected sexually. He has seen you being criticized. He's seen you thrown under the bus. He's seen you emotionally neglected. He sees your tears and He hears them. And you can trust that He actually cares. Because if you're listening to this, you're one of the millions suffering who are actually brought into the very small percentage of men and women who actually heal. Regardless of what your spouse does, you were chosen for healing. So this care of God is real. Now, God is different than the step 2, which was a power greater than ourselves. God is a person. He's a person like I'm a person, like you're a person. He has a mind, He has a will, He has emotions, He exists. He has beliefs, and He's really able to communicate those. But He's not subject to you. Secondly, God has authority. Now, when you make a decision to turn your life and will over to God, you're saying, I'm not God. I don't make my own decisions. I submit my decisions to the care of God. I ask Him about these relationships. I ask Him about my marriage. I ask Him about things I need to do. I ask Him about maybe, creating plans that I need to be working on. But I submit them to Him. I'm not my own boss anymore. Okay? I really turn my life over. And that's a big decision. I remember when I made that decision, it changed my life. For the good, for the very, very, very good. And I can tell you this from my own heart. If you have not made that decision, you want to make that decision. And say, God, I can't do this anymore. I need You to guide me, to inform me, to love me. I need to hear Your voice. I need to get Your comfort in my life. I'm starving here for love. And let Him start to show up. Okay, the care of God is real. Now, we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Now, it's kind of, again, going back to that dating marriage process. If you're on this journey, you're right on step 2, you've been dating God, you're trying to figure out how He thinks, who He is, okay? And step 3, the dating's over. You're saying, I'm marrying you. You're gonna be my boss. You're gonna tell me what to do, God. I'm going to listen to You. If you say no, I don't have to understand why. If you say yes, I don't have to understand why. I want to obey You. I want to follow You. I'm giving my will over to You. So if you say something, I'm going to be amenable to what your will is for me. I'm going to turn my life and will over to the care of God. I believe you're good. I believe you're a loving God. And I want to know you intimately. If you've not made that decision, make that decision. If you made that decision, even if it was years ago, it's probably good to evaluate the areas of your life and make sure that he's really God of those areas, that he gets to make the final decisions, because sometimes we kind of sneak back on our own little thrones. So be careful about that. Now, this is step 3. If you're married and alone, I strongly encourage you to have the Married Alone step book, work through these concepts and principles, and be in a group so that you can hear other people who've gone through the same process as you have. So please subscribe to our channels if you have not done that. If you have a question, submit that. And we really hope step 3 has been helpful for you.